an overall broad um, topic might be the importance of perspective, and the broader your perspective, the healthier, the better your decisions, the more you can respond versus react, the less your emotions are driving your behavior. And that's, there's a lot of Ram Dass talks about it, as I pointed out to you, with the picture frame mentality, and um, it's a factor in humility to realize it's not all about you, to back up and realize you need others. And so just the importance of a broad perspective is one thought I had.
Yeah, the importance of a broad perspective. I love it. So I was just going through my course real quick, and I was just trying to understand like which module of mine speaks to that topic of yours. So I had some prompts on there, and yeah, I totally agree with that, man. Like there's so much in there. So my module that I think would fit really in with that is called Thoughts Are Things.
Yeah.
And there's so much prompts in there. So I'll just share my screen real quick just so I show you what I'm looking at. And I'll pop it off. But I was thinking like, yeah, what would you like to talk about? And I'm doing like traditional life coaching. So the course is actually very in depth. And so I was like, well, whatever you want to talk about, I'm sure I've got it in here. And I got it in there. So these are my 12 modules. Why are you here?
Uh-huh.
Et cetera. But this is like thoughts are things, processing your thoughts, and I just expanded into mindset, skill set, and habits. And so under there, I was thinking about that. So your reaction, the only thing you can control, and the power of the subconscious mind and how we train it. Meditation, and and some specific meditation. So I think that's as close as
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Very cool. So what is it that you love about this particular topic?
It's kind of key to overall happiness and content with life. Um, it's when you have a broader perspective, you don't take things as personally, and uh, and so that allows you to be more thoughtful, to be more responsive, to understand your role. And also it kind of aligns with the seven levels of attitude, where when you're a victim, you only see how it hurts you, all the way up to level seven, where everything is possible, and you're a piece in the flow of life, um, and so you don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely, man. And so I call mine the scale of emotions, and we tie a bunch into it. But yours was called leadership levels, right? Leadership energy levels. Is that what it was?
yeah, Energy Leadership Index.
Energy leadership index. Yeah. And I remember when we went through that process together, that was the most impactful thing for me. Like our work together opened up my brain to emotional intelligence. And I know we did the 16 personalities test together. And I remember my output, which was the same as Case's, and I love Case. It was the exact same. It said when this personality type learns emotional intelligence, it's like an entire new world opens up. And that's exactly what happened to me. And so I remember, emotional intelligence was like the big eye-opening thing. But when we did our training together, the leader energy leadership index, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most eye-opening for me because I think, like you said, broader perspective. When I think about myself and what level I was in and what level I wanted to be at, it was very interesting thinking about, is this an energy that pushes, that pulls? And yeah, am I viewing the world through this particular lens? And one other thing that a lot of folks that I've worked with in the past have talked about is, I think Tony Robbins actually talks about this a lot, is that you have an emotional home, and that's kind of your base. You sit there and then you can go up and down and fluctuate. And I think of it very similar in your leadership energy index, that there's probably a home that a lot of us have on the
Yeah.
level. We can go up, we can go down, but we kind of resonate there. And it's not till when we truly jump levels in life, we probably jump levels in that index as well, right?
Yeah. it depends on what you're talking about in terms of jumping levels in life. Um, if you're talking about you gain a sense of control, you have happiness, you see things in perspective and that sort of a thing. I think that's true. Um, one of the, I think it's really pertinent today to I think we've got social media and we've got regular media, and a lot of messages that are being thrown our way are designed to get an emotional reaction from us,
Mhm.
and get us angry. And often that's through, look what's being done to you, look how unfair it is, look at these things that are happening that are destroying our world. And so it easily gets you fired up. I think we're very receptive as humans to that kind of a thing, where, the perspective thing is taking a step back and going, okay, I'm noticing my emotions, I'm noticing my thoughts and feelings. Let me challenge this a little bit. Is this true? Is there a different perspective that's being missed here? What is the complexity? They're putting it very simply. Nothing is that simple in life, and often truth is a lot more complex, a
Mhm.
lot grayer. And so, what is the broader picture that I'm missing that isn't personal, to really understand my role in it and realize that I think one cause of mental illness, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist or therapist, but I think one cause of mental illness is that you um, you you don't accept what is. And so, like, let's say you had a strong reaction to the recent election, and you're not getting sleep at night because the world's coming to an end and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Um, whether that's true or not isn't the point. What the point is that is reality. That happened, and you're worrying that, why did it happen? Why should it have happened? What could have what should Americans have chosen? Whatever. That denial creates stress um, and really a lot of harmful, unhappiness and so on. And we don't really have any control over that.
Mhm.
The Stoics will say, only focus on what you have control of and let the things that you don't have control of go, and just focus on yourself. So they would say things like, what are values that are important to you? Have you lived those values today? You have control over whether you lived those values or
Yeah.
not.
Mhm.
Whatever happened out there, how did you respond? Did you respond thoughtfully? Did you respond kindly and caringly and with a broader perspective? Or did you just react and shout back and just make it worse, and make yourself crazy? We have the ability to control our response, and focusing on what we can't control creates anxiety, depression, and unhappiness.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I'm gonna turn this light because I just realized it's all light behind me and your image looks so much better than my image. But I agree with that so much. And you touched on so many different things. It's funny, it's like the third time I ever heard of stoicism and the reframing. That thought cycle has been so valuable to me. And I think I shared a story with you about how that saved me from a very horrible decision and could have really negatively impacted somebody else. Um, but also it reminds me of this one of my favorite books, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. Have you read that?
Yes, I love that book.
I love that book. And it's funny because I'm dating my fiance is Latvian, which is next to Russia. So when he was talking about his experience up there, I'm just laughing because it's similar.
Yeah.
But I love what you're saying. Like we focus on the things that we can't control, but if we shift that to I only have, sorry, I only have 3, 4, 5 apps in a day, whatever. I'm gonna spend them on what I can control and not waste them on what other people are controlling. Because you can't control the weather. And it used to piss me off. Why? Because we were just like,
Yeah,
I hate the cold. And so I'm
yeah,
like, why does it have to be cold today? Why does it have to be cloudy? I hate the snow. I got a shovel. I'm late for work or whatever. I can't control that, but I moved. I can control that. So where I live. That's something I can control. And I love we worked on that thought cycle, and it's like, here's the trigger. I can't control the trigger. All I can control is what my response is. And one of my lessons is titled that your response, the only thing that you can control. And I think that's such a gift when you give that to people of here's the trigger. After that, it's up to you.
yeah, exactly. And in reflection, if you ask somebody what were the parts of their life that had that where they gained the most knowledge or they that made them who they are, it's generally really the tragedies, the difficult things that they overcame, that they got past. And so when we react to quote unquote bad things, we're not recognizing the power in those bad things as well. And like Maharaji, who is Ram Dass's mentor or whatever, guru,
Yeah.
he said he loves suffering because it brought him closer to God. And I've thought a lot about that, and I think it's true for me. When I go through something that's really difficult, it makes me think more broadly and understand my reaction and start meditating again regularly or start journaling and do my spiritual habits. And on the backside of it, it's like, wow, that really motivated an insightfulness that overtook just kind of a rote living life automatically. And it was really a
Autopilot.
gift.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man. I agree so much. I mention that all the time. I actually put this um life improvement journey image together. And basically just what it shows is all your highest highs are after your lowest lows. And I
Hmm.
100% agree with that, man. 100% true in my life. And my fiance and I we recently went through a big challenge, maybe our biggest challenge that we've ever gone through.
Wow.
And it was right after the engagement, which is really bad timing. But I have to say, like, I love her more now than I ever have before because she showed me so much as we went through this big challenge together, just how incredibly supportive she could be. And I would never have gotten to see that if we didn't have this challenge. And I think it's 100% true. Yeah.
That's wonderful, John.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I'm incredibly happy. And I'm more convinced now than ever that she's the best woman in the world. Like, hands down. She just shows me that every day. And yeah, it's great, man. Yeah. I'm sure you feel the same by yours.
Yeah, um, my wife is very independent, very smart, very challenging, and she makes me a better person every day. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm deeply appreciative.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, man. That's why one of the reasons I love hanging out with you, because you have an open heart just like I do now. A lot of it's thanks to you, to be honest.
Oh,
And
geez.
and
It's all you, John. You're
yeah,
receptive.
couldn't do it on my own, that's for sure. But yeah, it's such a beautiful thing, like being able to appreciate that in somebody. And when you can truly appreciate somebody else and they have all that to give, they've always had all that to give, and they find the person that can truly appreciate it, like that's a bond, like that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I do have one saying that I'm trying to live up to, that is related to this, but it's really subtle. I'm still trying to figure it out, and it's a huge challenge for me. And that is in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, do not identify with being the player or the outcome.
Mm.
Happiness is found when you don't identify with either. And I can understand the outcome thing. It's kind of the John Wooden theory of coaching in basketball, where guys, we can control only what we can control. It's preparation, it's work ethic, it's effort. And if we win, great. If we lose, great. The challenge is, have we done our best? So that I understand to not be identified with the outcome. The being not identified with the player or the actor is, I think, talks to ego, and to be kind of above that, the ego's needs. And uh, but that one, boy, offsetting my ego and quieting it, and quieting that inner voice that I associate with my ego is going to take a lot longer. That's a tough one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because pride is such an interesting thing, right? Like, so when we talk about that emotional home that we're talking about with Tony Robbins, and I tie it to the energy leadership index like you have, and I call mine the scale of emotions.
Yeah.
Uh, my emotional home used to be anger, and I moved that. I tried to move that up into pride, and it was a stepping stone, but it went straight to courage, and I'm very proud of that, actually, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
But pride was always a weakness of mine. I could never get into my pride. I never really thought much about myself. And I actually have just learned through this recent process why. I actually learned that a reason that I'm so generous, I love giving to others, especially like if I had $50 in my pocket and my friends wanted to go out to eat, they didn't have any money, I would spend all of my 50 on the two of us going out to eat and have nothing left over. And while I love that, it was also because I had no self-worth. I had no pride in myself. I didn't think my value was worth any of that money. So it made sense to give it to others, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's such an interesting challenge that pride has so many benefits, but as soon as that ego gets away, being able to strip the ego is such a superpower because everything we do filters through that ego, right? And if we can truly get rid of it, and there are some techniques, there's plant medicine techniques, there's other kind of techniques. When you really get to a place of no pride, I just laugh at the things that come out. Because
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
share, yeah, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
I'll share this amazing example. So it's hilarious. My girlfriend or my fiance might get mad at me, but I don't think so. We had one of these tripping moments, and she told me in that moment. So my girlfriend has very high standards. She's worth every single one of them. And I knew what kind of woman I was getting involved with at the beginning. But I spent a ton of time picking out the ring. I reached out to her sister. I stole a copy of her vision board, looked at it a couple times. I did my research. I was very thorough. Picked out the ring, gave it to her on the beach. She's so happy. She's showing it off. But I felt like there was something not quite right in there. And we had this ego stripping moment, and she was able to tell me. I was able to ask her, like, hey, you really don't love the ring, do you? And she just looks at me. She's like, I want to so bad. It's not exactly my style. And with my ego not being attached, it was okay. It was like, you know what? I understand it. And I want you to have the ring you want. I want you to be happy every time you look at it. No worries. Take that one back. We'll get exactly what you want. But if my ego had been in its normal place, I would have flipped out. I would have been so ruined. Like I spent so much time in that, but because the ego was gone, it was a beautiful exchange.
That's wonderful, John. It reminds me of one of the agreements to never take anything personal. It's always, something that somebody says to you or does to you is always about them. And this is just a very simple example that had nothing to do with you or your effort, or you being a bad person or doing bad research. Just wasn't their style. Really cool.
Yeah, yeah. But my ego was there, it would not have gone
Yeah,
well. What, so you
that's
go ahead.
beautiful.
It's
Oh, that's
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
You said one of the agreements, where?
In the Four Agreements, the book, The Four Agreements.
We talked about that last time, huh?
Yeah, we have. It's just really simple. Don Miguel Ruiz wrote it. It's about the ancient wisdom of the Toltec Indians. The first agreement is be true to your word. Your word is power, and so be very careful how you communicate, how you express, to do it disciplined. Then I don't know the order of them, but never take anything personally. Um, because it's often not, it's not about you, it's about other circumstances. Another one is don't make assumptions. So you walk down the road and we pass and you don't say hi to me and I say hi to you, and all of a sudden, geez, John's angry with me. What the hell's going on? No, John was didn't even notice me because his head was someplace else. So don't
And
make assumptions. Ask people, John, are we okay? You know?
yeah. And in Europe, it's the
Um,
opposite. If you say hi to them in Europe, they're like, what's this guy? Why is he trying to they
that's
discuss it right
wild.
away. Yeah, it's so funny.
And then the fourth agreement is always do your best, which
Mm.
you've got that in spades, John. Knowing you for as long as I have, you've never been outworked.
Oh, you know what? That's funny. I appreciate that compliment. I had no idea how to work hard. None. I met my fiance and her sister are crushing it. Like I'm struggling to keep up, man. It's crazy.
Well, you sure had it at Gore.
Yeah. No, that I thought I was doing good. Their level, like uh to be honest, like not even fluffing it, they gotta be like 35-40% above me. It's crazy. Yeah.
Uh,
But I appreciate the compliment.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good, man. I do love this different perspective. I think that's such a superpower to be able to stop and be aware. You know, it's a superpower that I love to have. Sometimes I wish I could turn it off, but it's so
Yeah,
nice to be aware of, think of why is this here and where is it actually coming from?
right. And that's, back to the original point. That's just a step back from, oh my God, what are they doing to me? And the more steps you can take back, the more truth that comes open, the less you take things personally, the wiser you are, the more creative you are. And I've told you before, I love Ram Dass's analogy on this, where you see a cloudy sky and you take a picture of it, and it doesn't all fit in the picture frame. So you look at the picture, and you've got a backing that's smaller than the picture, and so you wrap around, and you all you see is gray. And that's how we go through life often, is what happened to me and with negative interpretations of it. But if you peel back the edges, you see some blue and you go, oh, that's just a partly cloudy sky. That's all that is. That isn't just a gray
Oh
life that
yeah,
doesn't have any light in it. It's
yeah.
the broader picture is it's a partly cloudy sky. Yeah.
And the opposite is true as well, right? If you have such a small screen, I mean, I'm a half glass full kind of guy, but if you have that same small screen and it's blue and you're like, I don't need an umbrella, it's going to be a great
Right.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Walk outside to get rained on. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Ah, that's very cool. I like that, man. So, zooming out gives you so much more perspective. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, yeah. And it can change your whole concept, right?
Yeah, and how many wise decisions have you made in the instant in reaction to something that came up, versus, after some reflection and contemplation and perspective.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. Reaction is never a thing. I love the space to just step away and take a second and choose how you want to show up. I think that is so much power to say that you choose how you want to show up every day. Oh man, the power in that is just amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have any techniques that you use? Like, so when I say techniques, I'm thinking of how do I step back and reflect and gain a broader perspective? I know for me, I really like guided journaling. So I
Yeah.
created a guided journal template. It's actually one of my free thank you gifts for whenever anybody it comes to a webinar or whatever. And it's very specific and it guides you through specific questions. And I like guided journaling from gaining perspective on, stuff I had no idea. Like, what's the lesson where I need to learn? And it's like so eye-opening. Do you have any techniques like that?
I do. Journaling I find the most effective.
Mhm.
A couple of things. In the morning, I like to meditate to just kind of clear out my mind, or attempt to,
Mm.
and to set intentions for the day. Bill Walton died 6 months ago or something like that. And so
Good.
I was watching interviews with him and his life, and and the Bill Walton is just really exuberant, over the top, but he said, every day I make the intention that this is going to be the greatest day of my life. And it's like, wow. So now I've been, with that example, I've meditated. And then at the end of the meditation, I've thought, how can I make this the best day of my life? What do I want to accomplish today? So that's a great way to start, that I've found, to start my day. And then in the evening is when I like to reflect and if I don't do this, I tend to stay up and not be able to shut my brain down. But if I do this and journal or take a walk and just kind of with my dogs, watch them and kind of slowly reflect on the day, it's wonderful learning. It kind of organizes, puts things into their proper place and allows me to sleep more soundly.
Yeah, sleep soundly. That's what I was thinking. Like, I actually love that same exact process. And I talk a lot about in my program the power of daily routines and the morning and evening ones. I actually really like what you said. I love to meditate in the morning to clear that head out. I don't set my intention as well as you do. I do. So we've done some Joe Dispenza advanced retreats, and so I set my intention of my vision of the future, and I spend time as my future self. But I really like that. Like, how can I make this day the best day of my life? Oh, that is powerful. Whew, I
Well,
love
and
it.
it's example, John, of you, I'm changing all the time. I'm just trying to absorb information and go, oh, that's cool. I'm going to try that.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I love it.
like I just started to cold plunge. Have you cold plunged?
Yeah, man. So I do cold showers, but they do have cold plunges here in Mexico, and it's not the water's not cold enough here for an effective
Okay.
cold. So I need to start doing it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a powerful technique.
Is it?
Except we got about 4 inches of ice on it right now, so I've got to
Yeah.
take the axe to it.
I'm screwed when I get to flex that, man. It is gonna be cold, but yeah. What the other part I was thinking is I love what you said, like meditating in the morning and journaling in the evening. And I do this gratitude piece because I'm lucky enough to live on the beach. So I do my morning stretches facing the sun. I do my affirmations. I do them with the sunrise. Then I go for my run, do something hard and uncomfortable, and then I go for a swim and I kind of just chill in the ocean and do my gratitude as the sun is coming up, which is just insane. So I love that piece. And Tony Robbins is big on that piece. He called it priming. But the evening, that's when I love to journal because exactly like you said, it lets me sleep. I process, reflect, and there's no unanswered questions in my mind, and I sleep so soundly. Because I've been tight on time, trying to gain more clients and make the business bigger, I've been voice journaling on my way back from the beach. And while I process it, that's not the time I need it. I need it at night before we go to sleep because it influences our thoughts, which influences our subconscious mind, which sets the intention for the next day. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a pretty good routine. I'm impressed.
I have a whole chart if you're interested in checking it out. It's really cool. Morning stuff, evening stuff, and then throughout the day stuff. But the morning and evening, I think are so powerful, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's crazy, man. That's so cool. Well, that's an inspiration for me to not only pick up the journaling at night again, but to make every day the best day of my life. You know who else does that? Um, the coaching brothers, the Baltimore Ravens coach, the Harbaughs.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, their dad had a really cool quote that is very similar. I think he's also like intense. And it's so funny because I know Luke Walton from my days in Tucson when I was in
Oh,
U of A. I know him just a little bit. Yeah.
uh-huh.
His dad,
Wow.
I love him because U of A ties. But the Harbaugh brothers, they had a clip that talked about their dad would like rush into the room and be like, "How can you make this day the most impactful day of your life?" Or it was something really cool. I forget what the quote.
It might be, who's got it better than us?
Who's got a better?
Nobody. Yeah.
That is a good thing, but it was something else. It was like start this
Okay.
with the intensity, the ferocity, or something. And when he said it, I was like, "Holy crap!" Like, I just want to call my daughter and be like, "I'm so sorry I didn't do this." Yeah, yeah, it's so cool, man. Well, nice. Any final thoughts on our chat before we kind of wrap up and talk about next steps?
No, I have a lot of gratitude for you, John. You're always thirsty for learning, for growing, for improving, and you're really an inspiration. And I've over the years I've appreciated all the organizational tools that you've created, and I'm like, oh man, I need to do that. Oh, here, I'll share it with you. And
Yeah.
you're very generous with your work, and you've made a big impact on me, and I really appreciate our friendship.
I appreciate that too, man. The way I refer to you is my mentor, my life mentor, and everybody I talk to, because I have a lot of mentors. I have a real estate mentor, I have the personal growth mentor, but I always say, yeah, with my mentor Brett,
Oh
and my
gosh.
I've never met you, and she's like, your mentor? I've never met. I was like, no, no. He opened up my heart. He opened up my path to emotional intelligence, and this whole personal growth journey is just incredible. And now I run a coaching business, and it's all because you were a life coach, showed me how to do that, and I was like, this is it, man. Yeah.
Well, you're giving me too much credit, but I will receive your thanks, and I appreciate that. So,
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. This is so much fun, so much fun, so easy to talk to you.